controversial debate about trophy hunting of elephants in certain areas of Africa, and that can get very heated very quickly. Now, if we take I'm not agreeing with it at all. Just remember, I'm just giving you guys all the facts, and you can make up your own minds. So there are parts of Botswana and Zambia. Botswana doesn't currently hunt elephants anymore, but they used to for a very long time, and they've got the largest population of elephants in Africa. You've got areas that are over 4 million acres in size that you cannot run safaris in. The bush is not suitable. There's tsetse flies, there's mopani bees and shrub mopani, and you don't see much else apart from elephants around certain waterholes and the odd buffalo. So you can't really take game drives there. To me, having the best time. So those areas, elephant hunting was done with strict regulation, and elephant bulls of a certain age. For example, in that area, I think it was 12 elephant bulls a year out of a population of over 20,000 elephant in that area. So zero effect on the actual meta population. Now, what happened is, however, that all that meat went to the local communities, and almost all the people working in those hunting camps, the skinners, the cooks, the housekeeping, all those people were from those local communities. And what's happened in certain of those communities since hunting has been banned is that not only was their job lost, all that meat was given to the local communities for free from the elephants, so they've lost a source of food and a source of revenue. Now, while the hunting was happening, that elephant had value to them. It provided for their families. It provided for their families. It was the elephants were the big providers in those very rural areas. And now all of a sudden, and you take that away, a lot of those guys who used to work in those hunting camps and that are now professional poachers, because they don't have a job. They don't have a way to feed their family. And I know a lot of people get very upset and you shoot poachers. If you're shooting poachers, you've already lost the battle, because if you start killing people, you're making the wrong decision. You need to fix the social problems before you can fix the conservation problem. So at the end of the day, a lot of poaching is not a conservation problem, it's an economic problem. And there are people living around these areas where the animals are, where the animals have no financial or they'd have no beneficiary to them, and it's very easy for us to say, but the animals must just be there because of the animals. Now, I don't know about you, but if my family was starving and my child needed food, and if I didn't do anything about that, my family was going to die. I was living in a ramshackle hut that was falling down. Would I go poaching? Probably to save my family, I would. So it's very easy to say shoot a poacher, and that's because you don't have to look that poacher in the eye. You don't have to look that poacher's baby in the eye when it's got no food, when it's hungry. So it's a much more complicated situation than people like to think it is, and that's the same for rhinos, same for tigers, same for any of those things. In a lot of the scale, it's a livelihood, and it gives people a chance to keep their families alive, and it's very easy to sit and what we call them armchair conservationists. It's quite easy to sit and preach from a soapbox when you don't have to go look at starving children who have no hope of survival. So it's a very interesting topic, and it's something we probably don't touch on enough from time to time. But as I say, I just give you all the facts, and you guys can make up your own mind. Now, for a long time, those hunting areas that I was talking about now that are being heavily poached in certain parts of Africa, in Botswana in particular, what happens is, because it wasn't a pretty area and it was very difficult to do game drives there, and very big area with very little water, what did happen with those areas, they are feeder areas into the Okavango Delta, into the Chobe. So those are all on the back there. So what it does, it just creates a larger area that is under wildlife, and it keeps your genetic stock healthy, and there's a constant flow of animals, new blood, new lions, new leopards. But now, with those areas being poached quite heavily, what's happening is that mostly it's actually meat poaching, so things like giraffe and buffalo are being targeted the worst, as well as ivory for elephants. What's happening now is also you're removing the giraffe, you're removing the buffalo, the gemsbok, the eland from those areas, and the predators don't have any food. So now the predators are moving out of those areas, and they're moving into areas where they're beginning to have conflict with the farming communities that those predators never ventured into because there was no need. There was enough food in the hunting areas. But now, because the meat's being removed, the lions and the leopards and the hyenas are starting to attack cattle and people in those areas. So now not only are we losing the elephants, the giraffe, and the buffalo, we're now starting to lose the lions and the leopards because of those things being lost. The lions have no food, so now they're forced to try sort of head into the community areas where the cattle are and the donkeys and the horses. So it's a far running wave, but as I say, it's a very interesting thing, and it is a very, very complicated process, and I don't think there's any one simple answer, and anyone who tells you there's a simple answer to the poaching thing in Africa doesn't know what they're talking about, in my opinion. But anyway, it seems like Tristan has escaped from the tent, so let's see what his plans are while he bumbles about on Jigger.
Well, Brent, I don't know. I'm just getting out for the first time this morning, so probably to stay dry, one, which is going to be a bit difficult, but we'll try, and two, just to drive and see what's happening out here, see if maybe there's something. I don't know if either Taylor or Brent went past Treehouse area. Maybe I'll go check down there. Just have a little scratch and just see what's happening. You never know. Maybe we're lucky with something moving about and walking around. It's now when the rain stops that sometimes, like with those lions getting up and walking, that maybe, just maybe, we'll get a situation where there'll be something else walking around. Nina, the area called Quarantine was because this is where they quarantined a bunch of wildebeest when they were released back into the Sabi Sands, when the Sabi Sands once again became an established reserve and was opened up to the Kruger. There was some wildebeest that were released, and they were quarantined on Djuma, or on this big open clearing, and so that's why it got named Quarantine Clearings. It was cleared just so that there was a space for the wildebeest to go in so that they could be tested for all kinds of diseases and those kind of things. So that's what it was for. It's got nothing to do with quarantine of humans or any animals currently. It was just back in the day that happened, and now we just kind of still call it that, even though there is no more of that kind of going on. Although, it's not to say that there won't be animals ever released back into the Sabi Sands. I know there was talk for a long while of trying to get jackals back into the Sabi Sands, a whole bunch of jackals, the smaller cats, like serval and caracal and those kind of things that have all suffered from rabies outbreaks. And then also they were talking about at one point doing some releases of sable, but I think the sable is probably just too expensive, and also it's not really the right habitat for them. Our lions will have an absolute field day with sable and will eat them. The last sable I knew about was the one on Nkoro, and was there during the drought in 2016 and was around their pan fairly regularly, and then the Tortured Pride took care of that quite quickly. And so that sable is now gone. And then there's a group of sable that sometimes gets seen on the Sand River down on Mala Mala when it gets very, very dry. They move down into that area and you see them there. But otherwise, nowadays very few animals that are actually released into the Sabi Sands, an open system, and so theoretically is designed to try and be as stable as possible and to be as natural as possible. And so the only reason they wanted to release those animals is because those animals used to occur here. In fact, sable were more common than impala back in the day, if you can believe it. Impalas were quite rare compared to the sable, and so it's pretty amazing now when you think about it that we don't see sable at all, but there's so many of these impalas that are out and about. It's pretty crazy. So it's just the way things go, and you find a situation where things change, and that's why they wanted to bring them in, to release them and repopulate an area that once had them. But I don't think it would be possible. You would need a lot more animals, and also now with the amount of water in the Sabi Sands from all the artificial water points, sable would really struggle here, and I don't think that would be a very successful initiative, although you never know, maybe it does work, I don't know, but I don't think so. I think there's just too much artificial water for them. Good. Let's try and see what we can find. Hopefully there'll be something. I don't know, has anyone checked out Janet Jackson's little nest? Or what would we call it? Home, should we say. Right, villa, yes. Let's go see Janet Jackson's villa. While we do that, let's send you to Taylor McCurdy, who I believe is at a puddle, pan, dam, / all of those of the above, and I wonder what she's doing and where she actually is.
Interesting. Did the tent make you lose your mind slightly? Anyways, we are at the pan dam / others. We're at these small pans near Shibamo, and I'm waiting for the frogs to start talking again. I haven't actually been able to see. Oh, listen. Isn't that a nice sound? I don't know what frogs they are, though. Making that clicking noise. There was also a woodpecker banging away at one point. I'm looking for these tiny little frogs. I don't necessarily think that they're in the water. I think that they could be in the grasses. Maybe a type of caco? I'll have to bring the mobile device out at some point, but I don't even think that my phone will recognize my fingerprint. I've got wrinkly fingers now. So we'll get into that at some point. I just need to dry my hands before I touch my device. So pity we aren't hearing the which is that banded rubber frog. They also hear. Can't hear any. Hang on, wait, let's do that now. Let me try to dry my hands on something. Try and get some of the water off them. Oh, I have a cloth. Yay! Because I'm so OCD. Now, solo, as I search for my mobile device in my camera box, you're wondering if that was just one frog. Have a little listen again. To me, it sounds like there's 2 or 3 frogs calling there. And what they're doing is something called time sharing. So essentially, the frogs are very efficient with the way that they call. They don't want to call over one another. So instead, they call in between one another's calls, which often sounds like a constant chorus. And it's important. So the females will be able to hear the differences between the various calls there, and then they'll come through to an area like this, and well, whoever's singing the loudest and making the prettiest sound will win her heart. I'm just hoping the African bullfrogs are going to come back. I don't know why I opened my bird app, Seb. Let's quickly listen. I've forgotten what a golden leaf folding frog sounds like, so we need to look for that. Golden. There we go.
Frixless aureus.
A clicking sound. Okay, let's try someone else. Let's look for cacos quickly. Caco. I'm going to listen to this one.
Butker's caco, Cacosternum butkeri.
That's what's calling, not the golden leaf folding frogs. It is the Butker's cacos that are calling away. Now, Tristan has my frog book. I think it might still be in the tent. I'll maybe have to go fetch it a little bit later. They're tiny, tiny little frogs, probably not much bigger than the size of your thumbnail, so really quite small, in fact. But they are beautiful little frogs. That's why I suspect they might not be in the water. They might just be in and amongst the grasses at the moment. That's quite nice. It's a pity there aren't any others calling that we could have a little listen to. Let me just make sure my phone is turned on silent now. Okay, well, that was nice. Thank you, frogs. Let's go out of here. I just came down on this little 2-track that runs to the edge of the pan. I'm back on the road, trying not to spill the tea. Gotta have your tea when you're driving around on safari. The good news, you quite enjoyed that. You said that you enjoyed listening to those sounds. Thank you. I actually thought Rebecca was going to go, good news is that the sound was good, and I thought there was going to be bad news coming in after that. We'll go to the next pan that are just here. Oh, for those of you who have never had rooibos tea, red bush tea, got to get some. It is delicious. So delicious. Take this 2 track. Let's see. This is the banded rubber frog pan. This is where we always hear them. I'm so sad we didn't see any African bullfrogs. Maybe they'll come out this afternoon. Sorry, Seb, I'm going to reverse. This pan is quiet. Everyone's still sleeping. And have a little look. I'm just going to quickly scan the edges to see if I can see any movement. And that's actually normally where we hear the golden leaf folding frogs is from in there, but not today. Not today, I'm afraid. We did have one frog leap across the road earlier this morning, but I couldn't have even told you what it was. It was so quick. It did like 3 hops and then off it went, crossing the other side again. Little one, you've asked if I've ever heard a Coqui Frog. A Coqui Frog? I don't even know what that is. Let me see if I have it. Okay. C-O... No. We obviously do not get Coqui Frogs in southern Africa. So you'll have to share an image with us so we can have a little look, because I've got all the southern African frog calls on my phone, but that one does not appear. So no, we don't, unfortunately. Well, I've never seen a Coqui Frog. What does it look like? Maybe you can describe it to me. Maybe we get something similar. Where are we going to go? I suppose we can just follow this 2 track all the way around. In fact, yes, let's do that. Oh, frogs, I'm disappointed in you today. You were supposed to represent. We had heard all the bushveld rain frogs calling. I'm just checking. No one wants to come out and play with us today. That's sad. No, I'll keep checking puddles because who knows what may happen. Maybe we'll have an explosion of frogs around. Let's go to Brent, who's seen many amphibians in his life, and perhaps he knows what a Coqui Frog is.
It is not a frog that occurs in southern Africa, Coqui Frog. The only thing I can think of is it's a frog drawn with a Coqui pen. A Coqui pen is a South Africanism for what else do you call Coqui pens? Colouring pens, but felt-tipped colouring pens. I don't know why. I think there was a brand when we were kids called Coqui, and that's the only thing. The only thing I can think of a Coqui Frog is a frog drawn with a colouring in pen. But it's definitely not a frog species that occurs in southern Africa. Unless it's spelt differently from the Franklin. No, still nothing. There we go, red-backed shrike. Looking a bit chipper now that the rain has abated. They're going to be stocking up on as many insects as possible before their long flight back to Europe. Now, those of you watching in the UK might even see them in your garden during your summertime. X-Ranger is asking, is it true that bread is not good for birds or other mammals? I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. I suppose it all depends on the bread. Oh, he's after something in the road. Did you catch it? Or did you miss it? He missed it. And he's off. I don't know. I suppose the more processed bread that's full of sugar and nonsense, that would be not good for anything, not good for us either. But I don't know whether it's good for birds or not, to be honest. Never really thought that far about it. Well, most of the birds I see are not on feeding tables, that's the thing. They're out in the bush. There's not much bread for them out here. Ah, it seems like Tristan is visiting one of our favorite little creatures that likes to hide in a hole.
We are indeed. So we've come to Janet Jackson's home, and Janet Jackson is home at the moment. So you can see a little bit of movement as it climbs up and disappears out of view, as is pretty typical with this little Janet. You'd normally see it for about 2 seconds and then it's gone. I can just see the tail disappearing further up the tree. So home and dry is what it looks like. And actually the fur itself, when we first saw it, was very, very dry as well. So Janet Jackson was indeed home, but has now unfortunately disappeared as per normal with Janet Jackson. She's not a huge fan of, or he, I'm not sure which one it is not a huge fan of us. And it's so difficult with this particular tree because of the way the tree is. You have to come so close to it. I wish we could park a little further away, that we could be able to then watch her without disturbing her at all. So it'd be nice to kind of, maybe we must make a plan and try and get ourselves into a spot where we can at least sit from much further away than what we are there. It's so close that she kind of gets panicked and goes up the tree a little bit, which is not so nice. Anyway, we saw some spots. Spots is always good in the morning. If we can't have a leopard, we'll take a genet, that's for sure. Now, it is very wet out here, but not as wet as I thought it would be. So I thought we'd have a lot more puddles than what we do. We have got, obviously, and there are some, but I thought we would have had way more in terms of the amount of rain that we had. I would have thought that we would have had a lot on the roads. It seems a lot of it is drained, so the situation has been so dry that a lot of the water is just seeping. And as we were saying earlier, we actually, even though it rained quite hard during the course of the morning, we actually haven't had that much rain over the last little bit. It's been about 20 millimeters, which is actually not very much in the grand scheme of things. Like I say, if we get something like 100, then we're starting to talk a lot. Now, apparently I'm going to be losing reception going down this hill. I forgot completely that I'm in Jigga and not in Wendy. And so while I turn around and try and find somewhere else to go, I'm going to send you back across to Brent. And I wonder what he's up to now.
Ooh! Ooh! Oh no, I thought it was a very big aardvark track. It is, however, not. It is a kudu track that just... can you see it, Craig? Oh, let me go back. There, it's just a kudu where the two feet of... Oh no, I think it's the one close... Right? Oh, there we go, let me move out of the way. There we go. For a second it looked like a big aardvark track, but however it's not. It's just a kudu track. Where the kudu is stood on its own footprint. Oh dear, I thought it was really fresh aardvark track, so I was about to go hunting aardvarks. Only place I've seen an aardvark actually on Djuma was up here late one night. Actually just down there. Straight or right, Craig?
Let's go right.
Okay, let's go right. Let's check Zoe's. See if Hoopoe's come back. I can hear some sunbirds, but they're way up at the top of this tree. Oh, and off they go. My pleasure, Wisteria. Wisteria really enjoyed the tracks, so my pleasure. And you're not going to see too many tracks after the rain. As you can see, it's a blank canvas, so to speak. And I'm hoping to find a very fresh male leopard track. Maybe Hoopoe's come into this area. He does like it here. But at the moment... No, false alarm. But look at this, the sun's coming out. This is definitely one of my favorite viewpoints on Djuma as you look down towards the Mawati River from Zoe's Road. Aha! I found the culprits of the tracks. There they are. Hello, culprits. Making me think I'd find a very fresh aardvark track. Lovely little group of kudu slowly moving through and feeding as they go. What are those ones eating? They're eating a rain tree or an apple leaf. Now, a lot of these browsing animals won't need to have a drink today because they're going to get lots of water as they munch on the leaves as they move through the bush. Oh, there's a little boy as well in that little huddle there. You can see his little horn sticking up. There he goes. There he is. Oh, those kudu are going to disappear out of sight into the thickets, but Tristan's found something that's probably had a torrid time with the rain.
I'm sure they have had a torrid time, although they look quite dry. Maybe they found themselves a nice bit of shelter, but our whole dwarf mongoose family is out on the road, and you can see there's a lot of them this morning. They're probably out on the road because the grass is so wet. They've all come out here to try and dry themselves. You can see lots of grooming going on and lots of sort of bonding taking place, and a little bit of sniffing and scratching as well. And very, very cool to see them. I absolutely love spending time with these guys. They are amazing little creatures. And oh, that one just got sick. Did you see that, Vim? One of them just got vomited. That one there at the back. And you see a little squeak that was just let out, and now everybody disappears. You see that? So as the sun came out, one of them got a bit of a fright, or maybe a little drop of water hit them or something, and they squeaked, and the whole group disappeared very quickly. So as soon as they hear that, they know that it's time that they must try and run in case there's a predator. But there you can see the bit of sun that's starting to kick in, a few droplets that are highlighted by that. Little dwarf mongoose that are going to have a good day, I think, if after the rain has been like this. Going to be lots of little insects for these guys to feed on, and if we get a lot of winged owlets coming around, then they're going to feed off those quite extensively. So they'll be happy about the rain. It's going to mean more food for them and better shelter too. They're able to then get into long grasses and places like that where they can hide away. But isn't that cute? Look at the one standing on its back legs. They seriously are a very cute little animal, and at least we've got two different carnivores since we've left camp, which has been quite nice. So the genets, and now the little dwarf mongoose, and some sunshine as well. So it was a good plan to come out of the tent. We've had a lot more from here than I think we would have gotten by staying in the tent itself. I'm sure Taylor's going to be happy that the sun is shining. It should hopefully provide a bit of warmth, given that she's all kind of frozen and cold and wet from this morning's affair. But she was a trooper, as was Brent, that stayed out in it and kept it going. And so at least we got a view of a few things given the weather that we had. Now, I'm pretty sure we'll find most of these guys are just going to sit in the sun like this and warm up. And once they've dried out and warmed up, then it's going to be foraging time. And then we'll see them scampering about as they normally do. But for now, it's a slow start for a Saturday. So, Jeff the Plant, you are a new viewer to our show, and you welcome, Jeff, to the largest safari vehicle in the world. This is not a documentary as per se. This is wildlife, and it is 100% live, as Brent would say. And so we are in sunny South Africa that has not been so sunny. It's been very rainy. And basically, we do live wildlife broadcasts twice a day. So we come out early in the mornings at sunrise, and then again at sunset, and we follow around all kinds of animals, and it's interactive. So you are able to ask any questions that you may have, Jeff the Plant. If you want to find out more about these little dwarf mongoose that are running around the road, or if you have any questions about anything in Africa, remember that you can ask them, and we'll try and answer as many as possible. And it is every single day, twice a day, and so you can find us on that. But I'm glad that you did stumble upon us, and that you'll stay with us for a while longer and get hooked like everybody else seems to be doing as well. Good. Now we're going to carry on with our dwarf mongoose. We'll watch them for a little bit longer, but I believe Brent has found himself a bird that must be reveling in the sunshine.
There we go. I actually noticed a mass amount of them flying in before the rain yesterday, and I think they have definitely started their migration north. It is a European roller. There you go. Now, the main reason I was actually trying to find you something is that we saw that lovely little herd of female kudu moved past us. And as I was about to leave, I noticed something else. And it's a treat. It's a beautiful big male kudu. But now he's been slowly moving through the thickets here towards the road. So we're just waiting for him to pop out. But he might have stopped to have a feed on something. So let's see if we can get a view of him. He was gorgeous. There's something that is very upset with life. There he is. Isn't that beautiful? The grey ghost. Lovely big male. Isn't that lovely? Let's just try and get another view of him. It looks like he's going to disappear into the thicket, so let's try and take advantage of getting a view of them. We don't see them that often, the big males, so it's always nice to catch up with a nice big male kudu. Where is he gone? He doesn't want to hang around too much today. He's trailing that herd of females. There's possibly a female about to come into estrus there. So, oh, but he's found something tasty on the way. And you can see he's just through the thickets there. And off he goes. Now, with the sun coming out like this, all the birds are going to be waking up. And that ties into what Hunter was asking. Hunter was, do birds sleep? Most definitely, Hunter. Most birds will sleep at night, and your nocturnal birds will sleep during the day. So yes, birds sleep. And we've got a bird, I'm going to say they've probably been hunkered down for quite some time with all the wet that was around, and now they're out sunning themselves, preening, getting those feathers ready, and of course hoping for an explosion of insects as the sun comes out, which often happens after the rain. So there's an African hoopoe, looking very, very fluffy. It's all happening here. And there's, I'm pretty sure, the buffalo that Taylor saw earlier. You see them there, Craig? Well, I need to move back a bit. I'm sure it's that. Well, where are you a little bit? Where are you looking, Craig? To the left a bit. There. There's that herd of buffalo I'm sure Taylor was with earlier, and the same herd that those lions managed to grab a youngster out of. It's going to be interesting to see if those evokers keep following them. There we go. Okay, let's keep moving. Bright sunshine. Who would have expected this at the beginning of the safari? Absolutely splendid. Oh, don't run away, don't run away. As I said, lots of birds coming out now. There's a red-crested Koran in the road by the looks of things. Yes, it is. Despairing. Chop, 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 chop. Gone. Well, the birds are out in force at the moment. Well, it seems like the birds are on my side today, because Tristan's also trying to bird, but they keep flapping away from him.
They do indeed. They keep flying away from us, and I suppose it's to be expected. Now that there's a bit of sunshine, they're going to start drying out a little bit, and then they're going to start flying and moving away and trying to kind of start getting some food in this morning after just hunking down during the wet weather. But I'm sure we'll get some somewhere on one of the branches. Amazing how warm that sun is. It's gone from being cold and chilly to very pleasant in terms of temperature. It's not too hot, but not too cold now. It's amazing what a bit of sunshine can do. And at least it's going to be a situation where it's going to start drying things out. And this afternoon should actually be quite nice. If this breaks apart and we get some sunshine through the course of the afternoon, we might get some really nice stuff, because that might get animals actually out. And we'll get a situation where we'll have some movement, and because the roads are all nice and flat and washed, we should get some nice tracks left behind. Now, I believe the sun has come out and Taylor has started to cry. Now, whether that's because the sun is so glary or she's just so happy to see it, given how wet she got this morning.
I was so happy. You'll see just now. We're going to turn around. We're going to drive in the direction of east in a moment. And then I can't help it. My smile goes all the way to my ears and my eyes just close because it's bright. But it's so warm. You have no idea how nice it is to feel warm. I can't get my jackets off though because they're stuck on me. So I think when I get back to camp, Rebecca's going to have to pull me out my clothes or my jackets. They're not going to come off any other way. And it's so wonderful. Like, it sounds so silly, but I can't tell you, when you're frozen cold to the bone and then to have the warmth of the sun come down, it's so nice. It's amazing. And I agree with Tristan. I think we're going to see a lot of action this afternoon. Well, I'm hoping. It can only be more than what we've seen already. I think all leopards are going to come out. Hopefully Tumba, wherever he's been hiding. I don't know where Tumba is, in fact. I haven't heard about him for a couple of days. He must be billing about somewhere. Hopefully he pops his head out too. And Hukumuri, well, this is now unclaimed territory after the rain that we've had. All that scent is washed away. We're going to need him to come on back in and say, hello, how's it going? And any other leopards that would like to do that can totally come and mark their territory here. We can have one leopard for Brent. Tristan can have lions, and then I can also have a leopard. Or some wild dogs, maybe, you know. We can have all the animals. But I've got a good feeling for the sunset safari. Let's just hope, like, I love the rain, and I think we had enough. We had lots of rain. But can we just have a bit of sun now? And just until my clothes can dry. Because I think everybody's in the same boat now, as we've now just run out of clothes to wear. Because we've had like 4 days of soggy safaris. Anyways, and I've only got one pair of shoes. But they should dry in the sun. I'm going to hang them up. Anyways, now where's this Shidulu female? We still haven't solved the mystery of where she disappeared. She just leaves footprints behind and apparently doesn't like to be. To come and have a little scratch around this corner that she seems to enjoy. Oh, bye-bye. And we'll tell Spurfowl racing across the road. And so, that was the swains I spoke out to nonsense. And Spurfowl that ran across the road. So we'll have a quick scratch around here, especially if anybody's been walking now. They're going to leave the most perfect prints in the. Oh no, the gremlins are attacking poor Wendeline today. She's going to need to go to the hospital, but off you go across to Brent to see what he has found.
Well, we're still on our birding mission. I can hear a little bird party down in this gully. So, Batty, and you get the top of this tree. No, we can't. Let me just try find a way to do it. Maybe if I go backwards up the hill. No, I'm getting head shakes from Craig. No. Maybe if I go forward out of the corner here. Maybe. It is a bird. You see that tiny little bird on top? No, you don't, because you can't see. Oh my goodness, this is frustrating. Because it's a bird a lot of you won't have on your bird list. I'm just trying to think how I can park to get it, and they don't sit still like that very often. It's a little Sterling's wren warbler. Craig, any ideas?
Not sure.
It's gone. Oh dear. Darn it. It's not often they sit for that long, the Sterling's wren warblers. Now, I think the birding around the Mawati is going to be quite lovely now, so I think that's where I'm going to head, down towards the Mawati. Well, before I do that, let me just get into the shade. It is incredibly bright all of a sudden. So I can show you what a Sterling's wren warbler looks like. Why is this thing being difficult? Yeah, let me just... Oh, anyway, let's try it this way. Wren warbler. Rhinic wren warbler. Sterling's wren warbler. It is a very, very pretty little bird. What do you want me to do? There. So that is the Sterling's wren warbler. And as you can see, it is a massive 14 centimeters and weighs a hefty 13 grams. Now, we have had them once or twice on camera before, but we hear them more than we see them. So that was that call we could hear on top of the tree. There we go. Sterling's wren warbler. One more time. This is a different call. Now, you hear it often here in the Sabi Sands. That one in particular. But we don't see them too often. They're very quick and they're very small, and they call from right at the tops of trees, and they're very, very tiny. Oh, it sounds like we got another bird party up ahead in Philemon's Dip. Seems like Tristan's bad bird luck rubbed off on me for the wren warbler. Let's see if his luck is improving.
No, don't blame me now, Brenty. I haven't had that much bad bird luck. I had one bird that flew away. The fact that the others are flying away from you is not my fault. Don't blame me for it. But it's tough in these conditions because with the roof on, often you end up kind of going back and forth, and that then disturbs the birds a little bit. So birds are a thing that you've kind of got to get as you're driving, and you stop straight away and you can see it and then look at it. They're not easy things to get on cameras, and they certainly test our cameramen quite regularly. Now, we've done sort of cheetah cut line all the way from Gowrie Main to Buffelshoek boundary in the hope that maybe little Tundi and Cub was going to be out, given that the Cub has now got a new name. We thought we'd try and kind of look for her, but no sign of either of them yet. It was just complete blank canvas. I don't think the only track I saw was for an impala that had crossed the road after the rain. Otherwise, the road is completely washed, so it's good now because we know if she walks across there, we've got a good timeline as to when she goes over there. So that's good news, and hopefully we will pick her up in the next few days. I'm dying to see that little cub again. I haven't seen it in so long. I'm pretty sure it must be about triple the size since I last saw it. In fact, I think the last time I saw it was in January or February. February was the last time I saw that little cub, right at the beginning of February. So it's been a long time, and I'm pretty sure it's grown quite a lot since then. So I'm really eager to see it again, and hopefully this afternoon it will oblige and come out and be on show for all of us, and to be able to see it and just kind of enjoy it. Carla, cheetah in the area, Not really. So we get random cheetahs that come through every now and then. There are 2 males that hang around quite far on our eastern side that kind of do a north-south route. Very seldom will they come here unless maybe there's a female that's in east that might bring them this way. We had a young male in January that was here with the injured front leg that came across this area, and then there was also a female with 3 cubs that came right, in fact, where I'm sitting right now is where we saw them. So there are cheetah around us, but very, very seldom. And I haven't heard a cheetah update from the other guides around me since I've been back. So I'm not sure when the last time any of the cheetahs were seen. Probably quite a while. And with Cheetah Plains being closed at the moment, there's really nobody actually checking Cheetah Plains open area. And that means that those 2 boys could be up and down there all the time, and no one would even know, which is a bit of a shame. So they are around, but just not really on Djuma. Djuma's not that great habitat for cheetah. It's very good for leopard and lions and wild dogs, but cheetah not so much. It's a little on the dense side, and lots of undulating drainage lines that make it difficult for the cheetahs to do well here. You need a lot more open, flatter sections, and that eastern side of Torchwood and Koro, Cheetah Plains, is nice flat sections that are quite open and then perfect for cheetahs to be able to move around. So not too many this side, but there's always a possibility. That's the best thing about being out here, is you just never know. Today there might not be a cheetah, but tomorrow there certainly could be. So we'll just have to wait and see, and maybe soon we will get them. Now, Brent had some hornbills earlier today that were eating termites, and they were looking it was looking very bedraggled. It was just the one. These guys are looking slightly better. They're starting to dry off a little bit, and are looking a bit dopey from a morning of wetness. Maybe had a little lie in. This particular one looks a little on the sleepy side, and it's just flown off a little bit towards a tree a little further away. But see how the wings are kind of dropped at the moment? So they're sitting with their wings a little bit more open than they normally would, a bit more relaxed, and that's just to try and dry in between those wings and feathers, and just try and kind of get it as dry as possible before they start foraging and finding food. Now, sorry, that's my fault. I took my foot off the brake. That's why the car lurched forward. It's not VM's shaky hand. As we know, VM has the most steady hand of all. And so it's my fault that it just shook a little bit. Beautiful birds. They've got great coloration in their feathers. The black and white is so striking in contrast to everything else. There you go. See what I was saying about the wing? Open wings, just to dry them out. And we'll see a few of the birds. I'm doing this over the course of the next few minutes and maybe in the next hour or so, to be able to just try and kind of get prepped for the day ahead. What are you trying to peck at? Now, these guys are not seed eaters, so those bush willow pods are not what it's going after. There must have been some sort of insect that was on one of those pods that these guys were trying to, well, this one was trying to grab, because you see it kind of just lurched up and just looking around quite extensively. I wonder if there's not some insects that have taken refuge in this tree and are now being kind of stalked by this hornbill. You see how they turn their heads to use that big eye to be able to see what's going on? So their beak is quite big, and so it makes it very difficult. There you go. You see it grabbed something. What are you eating on here? Are they caterpillars, perhaps, that maybe it's going after, or something like that? Can't see. Difficult to say. Cats, yes, all the birds here will molt. You'll have a situation where birds that are starting out as little chicks, they go through a whole bunch of molting procedures, and a lot of the migratory birds, funny enough, go through a molting phase. So there are a lot of birds that do molt, and they'll have first, second, third molts in their life, and you'll find, like I say, the migratory birds sometimes do molt as well. Very cool hornbill, though. He's been very obliging jumping around. I'm still curious as to what it's hunting, because it's in the same tree, and you see how it's looking on all the branches. It's kind of eyeing out what's going on. I wonder if it's not going after maybe ants. That could be what it could be looking for. Though ants generally are not hunted that much, given that they have that ability to produce formic acid, or their wing drying time. So while hunting, always take the opportunity to dry one's wings as well. Very cool to see. Nice. Well, let's carry on. Let's see what other birds we can find. I think it'll be a good birding time, as Brent has been saying, and Brent has already ticked off some nice birds already, so maybe we can find something. And also, actually, funny enough, with this rain that we've just we had a lot of wind prior to the rain. Let's see some of the rarer migratory birds kind of staying. Piper would want to look out.
Oh dear, it seems like the gremlins are out in force today. Fortunately, not with us, so we're still here. And I just wanted to show you how quickly the eastern sky is clearing. So, I mean, that was thick, dark clouds when we set out this morning. And now it is clearing at an incredible rate. So I think we might have a bright, sunshiny afternoon. Oh, Craig, time to torture. If it doesn't stop flying, is it going to stop flying? Is it going to stop flying? No, it's not. It was a monarch butterfly. We might get some nice butterflies this evening coming out after the rain. Some of the flowers might just have one late bloom, which could bring out some butterflies. I was hoping for some butterflies here around the Waltharias. I think I'm going to go have a look at the Djuma Dam, see if there's anything happening down at Vuyatela Dam. Still looking for the birds. Where are you, birdies? Tristan's bad bird luck. It's rubbed off. I can hear, and they've gone. I heard a lilac-breasted roller making a noise though. They're normally quite nice. They don't flap off as quickly. Where are you, roller? I heard you squawking. It's a red-backed shrike again, a male. Oh, there was a red-backed shrike again. Deary me. Kalesia, the humidity. I don't know. What do you think the humidity's like, Craig? Not too bad. I think it'll get worse as the day goes on, but it's not too bad. Aha! Don't you dare fly away, Birchall starlings. Down on the ground foraging. Hoping to find all the insects that are going to come out after the rain. You can see that shiny iridescence. They could be after termites, they could be after grasshoppers. There's lots of different insects that might be out and about this morning. Oh, that hornball looks like it's got something, the one behind the second. There we go. Oh, well, whatever it's got, it's scoffed already. Red-billed hornball. We saw yellow-billed hornball eating termites earlier. Now we've got a red-billed hornball, but I'm not sure what it's eating. Just trying to listen. I can hear some red-billed buffalo weavers somewhere close by, probably on the tower. Cape turtle dove calling. But that's about it. Let's go see what else we can find a little bit further down the drag. It is heating up very quickly. I've lost 2 layers, and I think I might even lose a third before the end of this morning's safari. Aha! Oh dear. Craig, they don't want to be filmed. Today there's an African monarch butterfly fluttering around. I'm just going to wait to see if it lands somewhere where we can actually... No, it is not being... Nothing's being cooperative. Well, butterflies at least. When I spotted it, it was sitting lovely on top of a stalk of grass, but didn't feel like hanging about. Ah, there's a Franklin. Natural, I hope you're right. Natural's comment is that I'm going to find the lions now. Well, actually, the lions are... Even the francolin are flying away. And landing in the long grass. I'm sitting on top of the termite mound, but I hope you're right, Natural. Hopefully we will find a lion. But I think the evokers are still in that thick drainage line. So, a bit slippery and muddy there. So we're probably not going to go there now. Hopefully this afternoon they might get up and head out towards that herd of buffalo. It seems like everyone's birding, and hopefully Taylor's does not fly away.
We were... There's some up in the tree. Except that dead tree to the left. Yeah, the top there. Oh, my goodness. We had an oxpecker drinking from a puddle in front of us, and then, well, of course, it flew away. I'm not surprised. But there's another one drying out its very damp feathers. Everyone's looking slightly happier now that the sun has come out, although there's, as I said, that it got a bit dull out here. Seems as though there's another embankment of clouds on its way in. Hopefully no more thunderstorm rain clouds, because I think we've had enough now. I think the bush is going to be beautiful and green, and then I'm going to go forward because, I can't even say your name, I'm shivering. Rebecca, hold on tight, because the impala are just up ahead. I just need to move around this little thicket here, and then we'll get a nice view of them. It's the same herd of impala that we saw earlier on quarantine. We saw them soaking wet. Now we're going to see them drying out. Hello. No, don't run. Please don't run. I've had enough animals running away from me today. There we go. Thank you. All wagging their tails after the rain. Of course, you can imagine the insects are going to flourish. They are going to be everywhere this morning. Tim and you are just amazed at the moment. You can't believe how the weather has changed in the past 3 hours. It's crazy, hey? Now the wind is starting to pick up too. That's going to add a little bit of a chill, a little one. But I think everybody's going to be thankful, though, that they are able to dry their fur out. And they do dry fairly quickly. I mean, they'll constantly keep shaking their bodies about and getting rid of that excess water. And then just by standing in the sun. And that should do the trick. It'll be quite nice. What has it got on its little horn? That one that we're looking on the left. Turn your head. And it's popping through. Look how funny that looks. Coming through all the keratin. That's very cool. Oh, there's a very wet oxpecker. That oxpecker didn't look happy now, did it? If that was a human, that would be me. That oxpecker. Very grumpy. No, I'm not grumpy. I'm just cold. I just can't wait to be warm. But you guys have all dried out now. It's actually quite funny. I think you should all take a screenshot of a happy little impala, all dry, and then compare it to one of the damp pictures we took earlier of how frozen they were. Because it's quite funny, the comparison. Their whole behavior, their whole body language is just completely different now. Yes. Let that oxpecker clean those ticks out your ears before they get too many of them. Learning to tolerate. I wonder if it's actually going to put that little impala to sleep. It does look a little bit on the tired side, doesn't it? His eyes look very, very exhausted. Oh my goodness. Oxpecker, you're almost the size of that impala's head. Be gentle. Just be slow. Still learning. Here we go. Getting another spot that the impala can't often reach, right near where the horns is just starting to push out. Oh, that's beautiful. Nice light. And another oxpecker climbing on. Get off of my head. Oh, it's a little one. It's a juvenile. And it's also joining the party, waiting for somebody to feed it. Yes, flappy feathers. Oh, shame. I can't get rid of them. Look at them like they're having an argument. No, you leave me alone. I said don't go there. Shame, little one. You might have to buck and rear to be able to get those birds off. Holding on nice and tight to your fluffy fur. What a nice way to end the drive, don't you think? Comparison, seeing very wet. Woo! A little hop, just skip and a jump over that. Yeah, it just went choop choop, and off it went. Lots of impala rams also. in the herd, all feeding. It's going to be interesting in the next month when they start rutting again. You're going to start hearing all those strange noises. These young males are definitely not going to be anywhere near the groups of girls. They're about a year old now, almost a year old. They're at that point where they're going to leave. So this is last year's batch. You're just nudging it off. You see, you've learnt that you just use your head to chase the oxpecker away. It's always a beautiful shot when they turn their heads all the way around like that. They seem to be fascinated with the horns today. There must be a serious gathering of ticks around there. Now, actually, this is quite a good question. Normally when you are bitten by a tick, I just hear my mom's voice in my head going, "Careful, you must get the head. Remember to take the head off of the tick. Otherwise you pull the tick and then the head is left behind, and that defeats the whole purpose." And Lisa, you're wondering exactly that. Do the oxpeckers remove the head? I'm sure they do. I'm sure they take the entire thing. Perhaps every now and then when they're dealing with the impala, trying to throw them off, for example. Of course, we know that they feed on ticks on many of the different animals. And perhaps then occasionally the head gets left behind. But I think most of the time they're pretty efficient, and I think they do remove them properly. But remember, these oxpeckers are going for the smaller ticks, the red-billed oxpeckers. So they're going for like the tick larvae and mites and things like that that are living in the hair. So they always sort of scissor with a fine tooth comb in the luxury facilities. In case you've never seen any before. There we go. There we go.
Now, unfortunately, it seems Taylor has got some gremlin issues, and so she's going to, I think, head home and try and just get to some semblance of normality for her day. Right, now, it is a very exciting time, because as much as Safari Live is an epic thing and we are trying to grow it as much as possible, we are now going to be trying to take Safari Live underwater, and we have a short little thing that we would like to show all of you as we begin to start the process of getting Dive Live up and running.
What we're going to do is we're going to have a marine biologist underwater with a full face mask so that they can answer your questions and talk to you in real time.
Leopard moray eel, look at that. This, guys, is what it's all about. To be able to give you this experience, to be able to be live from underwater, this is magical.
How incredible does that look? It looks as though we're going to have the most epic scenes from under the water and on above land, which is super exciting for all of us. And if you want to find out more information about Dive Live, remember you can just go to the Facebook page. There will be information there on how it's going to go, and you can like Dive Live's Facebook page as well for more updates as to what's happening. Now, it is that time for us to head home. I can see Brent Leo Smith is behind me, Taylor behind him, and so it's time for everyone to get dry and get fed and looked after. So from Brent, Taylor, myself, all the cam ops, and Rebecca in final control, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you all on our sunset safari this afternoon.